All right. Well, it is Saturday. I'm a little off on this plan because I spent most of yesterday not feeling well. So I'm back today to kind of show you all of my goodies from Temu and how well or not they work. So I have legal size paper. I folded them in quarters so that way I'm not wasting a whole lot of paper because again, these are just kind of sample stuff. These are blender brushes. They're made for makeup, but on the advice of several crafters, I have invested in actually two sets. So I have this one and then I have an unopened one back there. These work so much better than these do on stencils. So it's a good investment. I was glad that I finally did it. I really kind of put it off for a long time, but I finally suckered in. So this is the tree stencil. And I'm just, like I said, I've folded a legal sheet in quarters, so that gives me 8 panels to play with. I'm trying to use up some of my inks that are low for this, just so that I'm not using up my good ink. Oh, but look, that looks cool. Good stencil. So there's that one. I'm going to set this one aside just because. If you remember right, my other stack of stencils are 2 sets of 8. So I thought I could do 8 on one and 8 on the other. Just because I'm kind of weird that way. And even though they are all different stencils, I still kind of, for whatever reason, and even though this is just samples, for whatever reason, I still want them to match and be together. So doing this with those foam brushes that I have, it tends to snag on these stencils a lot. And what I've noticed is with these blender brushes, they don't snag. Very cool. So using these brushes, they tend to snag on the stencils, and then it tears the foam pad and you end up with flecks of stuff everywhere. Yeah, it's not nice. So this one is the little random circle-ies. Try to get my hands to work here. Didn't use a whole lot of ink there, but you can see the patterns there. So again, remember these are backgrounds. So I would use these to fill backgrounds on pages, and then put stamps and stuff over them, or pockets. And it's funny because I don't remember which 8 went together when I piled them together the other day. I didn't pay attention. Not that it really matters, because they're not going to be in any kind of what's the word I'm looking for? When I store them, they're not going to be by category, so it doesn't really matter that At least not to me. For some people, I'm sure it would matter, just because their OCD is probably a little a little bit more controlling than mine. I have OCD tendencies, not full-on diagnostic OCD. So it's enough to bug me, but not enough to control my life, like in true OCD stuff. So again, you get the circle background. I guess as long as I stick to circle patterns, then I'm kind of, sort of sticking in the family, right? So I am really liking the quality of these stencils. Sometimes when you get stencils, they're really thin. The plastic is really thin. And it's hard to go over them without ruining your stencil or getting hung up on stuff, or being able to apply enough pressure to be able to get the image to come through. So yeah, I'm really liking the quality of the plastic these stencils are cut on. So there's that one. That one was really light. I didn't have a whole lot of ink on there. There's my first 4. Flip the page around, do the other side. Woo! I just caused an avalanche, a craft-alanche. Let's see, any more circle-y stuff. This one's circle-y. My 2 gears. I guess this one's sort of a circle. Sort of a circle. So this one's a lot of gears. Need to hold that a little bit better. Oops, my stencil slid. Oh, it's kind of cool. My other gears. So I would have liked to have gotten that one just a little bit better, so you get the jagged lines better, but that's okay. Again, this is just the sample, so no harm, no foul. My nose is really driving me bonkers this morning. I've taken a Benadryl, so hopefully my ears and my nose will clear out and I can actually breathe and hear, because I can't really hear well today either. My ears are clogged almost as much as my nose, I think. Not sure what's in the air that's got my allergies going crazy. So that was kind of interesting. That's the one that was really open on one end and then more closed off on the other. I'm not sure if I like that one. At least not this end of it, where it's more of a closed lace pattern. I really kind of like the open stuff. Now this is one that I would not be able to do well using one of those little foam pads that I have over there. You can see all these little sharp points. Those would grab that foam and really mess up the stencil. It would bend the stencil up. It would mess up what's being laid down on the paper, because it would move the, you know, it would snag and shift the stencil. Worked really well with the blending brush though, so I like. Kind of cool. That's all 4 of that side. Get it open here. So there's those 4. On to the other 8. This one I couldn't quite figure out what it was supposed to be as far as like the design. Maybe I'll be able to figure it out once it's stenciled onto paper. I don't know. Let's find out together. Didn't really answer my question. Water splatters, maybe? I don't know. I'm not sure what that's supposed to be. Another Craft-A-Lunch. My dies are wanting to come out and play. That black cardstock over there. For my die cuts. We'll see. Those ones are always a gamble, buying them, especially buying them from China, because sometimes you get them and they don't cut very well. And so you have to either decide whether to scrap it altogether or figure out a way to, you know, figure out a workaround. 90% of the time, 95% of the time, I've been able to figure out a workaround. But there've been a couple where I've have just been so frustrated I've just thrown them away. So I would like to have gotten a little bit more ink there, but that's okay. I think you can still see. If I get it on camera, you can still see. And I think, unfortunately, I'm on the back side of the, you know, so instead of having 4 across like I did on the first one, but we'll see. The hardest part about stenciling, I think, is holding it, you know, holding it still. You know, because especially when it's a pattern, you know, if you slide the stencil, then you got to try to get it lined back up again. And that's not always the easiest thing to do. Little zebra print's pretty cool. Oh no, sweet, I've got it going on the right side. Telling ya, every time I touch something, something else falls. This one is the big fingerprint. which I think on this little quarter sheet, you'll probably lose the concept of it being a fingerprint. But if you were doing it on a full-size sheet of paper, I think the image would be more clear of what it actually is. This one, as you can see, maybe I'm having a little bit of difficulty keeping it in place, and that is just because it's got so many it's an open weave, so it's a little harder to keep in place. It's wanting to move around a little bit more. I guess that still looks like a fingerprint. Maybe it looks like a fingerprint to me because I know what it is. What do you guys think? Can you tell it's a fingerprint? So there's those 4. And now the last 4. Cooperate with me. Oh, this one's really thick. I thought I was grabbing 2, but no, it's just really thick. This one's the Crackle Paint. This is actually the one that prompted me to buy this stencil set. In real life, I love the look of Crackle Paint. Kind of suck at doing it for whatever reason. I've never been able to get it to work right. For me, I think it's kind of just like, you know, I've talked to other people and they said I suck at crafts, or I'm not good at crafts. It's like, maybe you just haven't found your craft yet. This is not my craft. Crackle painting in real life is not my craft. So you lose a bit of the effect, I think, on this quarter sheet, but not completely. It's not too bad. Keep moving things around. I gotta like look up and make sure I'm still in frame. This was kind of like that other one that I was like, what is it exactly supposed to be? I mean, like, is it supposed to be a splatter? I don't really know, but it looked cool. So I thought, well, we'll give it a shot and see what happens. I'll see, but that one looks cool. I slid my ink pad up underneath my other paper. That's what I get. I was trying to hold it in place. That one looks cool. Okay. Let's go. This is another kind of one of those circular patterns. It's like like patterning within patterning. I'll be challenged a little bit to get the ink laid down, as you just saw. And I just, yep, there we go. I moved my stencil, so I had to figure out how to get it back into place. See, in some areas you can do the roundy, and other places it doesn't, like down here, it's not going to let me do it. So I have to just kind of go in strokes, brush strokes kind of. And when I get into the center, where it's a little more condensed, I'm able to do the swirly brush. That's cool. Backgrounds. And last but not least, as far as my stencils go, let's see. I don't think, let's see, is this gonna, okay, I'm like, is it gonna let me swirl? So I'm currently home alone. My husband is off at a truck show. First a swap meet, and then a truck show with a friend of his. Yeah, see, I don't know if I'd like those big. I'd probably come in with another stencil and do something, you know, fill in those big gaps. I don't know that I like those big gaps. But there's those four. Okay. Oh, while I've got my ink out, I will go ahead and play with the stamps. Try to get my stack of die cuts out of the way here. I'll knock them over yet again. Let's see, where can I put them? Try to put them out of my way. And what I'm going to do while I'm also getting that started, let's get my candle lit here. There was 2 wicks in there. So this is my original stove that I bought for my candle wax. And this is the one I purchased after the fact. This one actually does not look any shorter, but we shall see. I don't know if you can see. So yes, the candle's off to the side over there. Go ahead and put that above it. Get my silicone mat out. Let's see, what color should we do that heart? All kinds of candle melts, wax melts. We do blue. Of course, I have no idea how many that's going to take because that's a new seal. I'm going to put a silver in there just to give it a little bit more glimmer. And I'll go with 5. I guess if I have extra, I'll have extra, right? There's my little spoonie. There's my spoonie. This is the spoon that you max your welt in. Melt your wax in. Set that off to the side. Get the wax started over there off to the side. And while that is melting over there, I will have a play with my new stamps. I'm not going to take each one off individually. I don't know if this is one of my dryer pads. I don't know how well it's going to work with the stamps, but we're going to give it a shot. Well, it inked on the paper just fine. Okay. Pretty good imaging. Again, this is not the way you normally do it. You have stamp blocks. You would normally peel these off, put them on here, stamp into the ink, and then onto your paper. So where's that one? This one right here. So you'll be able to see the difference in doing it correctly. So, and again, this is a drier ink. It's almost empty. That's why I'm using it for this process. Just so I'm not using one of my good inks. So those stamped really well. That's the, you know, a gamble you take, again, with buying things from China, but buying things, you know, without really getting a chance to see them as well, is that you really don't know how well they're going to stamp. Sometimes it's just a guess. It's a wing and a prayer. And again, I'm only using this just to kind of give it a flat surface. Oh, see, those are melting really, really quickly. I really should have a foam pad under here. That also helps with stamping, to have some sort of a foam pad underneath your paper. But because my craft room currently is in an absolute state of disarray, I don't currently know where my foam pad is. Yeah. I will get in here and clean my space here pretty soon. Because when it reaches a point where you can't craft without craft-a-lunching everything, it's time to organize and put some stuff away. Even I acknowledge that. Now, in some worlds, people say that there's no such thing as their dirty craft room because, you know, it gives you ideas and motivation and inspiration, whatever and whatnot. Which, to some degree, I agree. But there's only so much, in my opinion, where that really applies. And then you reach a point where enough is enough, and now it's too much. I wonder if it'll work on my silicone pad. Okay, I will say that burner works a lot better than my original one. My wax is already melted. Which on the other one, I'd still be sitting here waiting for it. That went a lot quicker than I was expecting. Let me do this one real quick. Oh, that's cool. My silicone mat worked really well for that. All right, so handle is pretty standard size. Although this one seems to have a different screw thread than the handle that came with it, which I'm not sure where it got landed. But that's okay, because usually I don't use the handles, to be quite honest. I think these are heavy enough, usually, to do what you need them to do. So it's pretty simple. You take those little melts, you stick them in your spoon, stick it over the candle, pour it onto your silicone mat. And I have my little spoonie here. Just scrape. Ooh, yeah, getting to use that for the first time too. That works really well. Dang near clean that out. That's much nicer. And then you just stick this on top. Boop. Now, obviously, as you can probably tell, I have way too much wax melts for this. So I'm just going to kind of try to scoop it up while it's still semi-soft as best I can. Stick it back into my little scooper over here. Into my spoon. So I'm going to take all this extra. And stick it in there to remelt. Now these do get warm. Obviously not like so hot that I can't touch them. Although that is the hand that I can't really feel anything, so it may be more hot than I think it is. I should let this cool down just a little bit more, but I'm gonna get some of this extra off of it, and then I'll let it sit more. So there was an air bubble in there. So this is a simple fix. You just stick it back in there, let it remelt. Holy smokes, that goes fast. I like the new burner. So these, I'm going to go ahead and take a couple off just because. Now the other thing too is a lot of times when you mail order stamps like this, they don't like to come off the plastic. Sometimes they get really stuck on there. I've had that happen more than once, unfortunately. And again, it becomes a choice for you. You can either find a workaround, or you can throw them away. For me, I just cut around it and I just leave this hard plastic attached to it. All it does is change really how the stamp affixes to the stamping block. It doesn't change it doesn't affect the stamp itself at all. So I just work around it. My ink is really drying out. I should have closed it in between, but that's okay. That's why those ones were really light. It's because my ink is drying out from being open. Give it a good squish into there. There you go. Much better. Those were cool. Now that I have my new stamps, I can do the other project that I've been dying to do for weeks since I first saw it on YouTube. But I'm like, I don't have the right stamps for that. So what do you do when you don't have the right stamps for what you want to do? You buy them. It's cute. I love the little hearts. All right. So I'm pretty impressed with the stamps. I like how easily they come off the plastic. I feel like they're going to work just fine. The problems that I'm seeing here, like I said, is a combination of me not having a foam mat underneath and using ink that is almost empty. And as you saw, as the longer it was open, it dried out a little bit more, and then it became even less effective. Okay, so back to this. You can see how quickly that remelted. Yeah, I was concerned that was not quite, so when I dropped it down, I knew it wasn't lined up. So I was worried there was going to be an air bubble in there, and there was. So you do want to try to center it as best you can. And again, the weight of the stamp itself will also kind of help distribute a lot of the wax. I'll get into my box too and get one of my small stamps, my small seals. They're not stamps, they're seals. Get off the spatula for the rest of that wax. So a small one out. Yes, I have a small one out. But even that may be too big for what's here, but we'll see. Yep, so that one's creating some havoc for me. So a learning curve on this one, it looks like. On these ones, as soon as they set for just a couple seconds, I can usually pick them up and move them aside. This one, the new one, is not, it's not being as cooperative as my other ones usually are. This is definitely not going to be enough wax for that seal. I thought there was going to be more than what there is though, so I'm actually just going to let this come out and solidify. And then I'll put it back in my box for later use. This, by the way, is a rose. Scanning my room, trying to figure out where my box of wax seals are. I was going to show you the ones that I've done already, but I'm not seeing where they are. I need my master cleaner, that being Madata. So you can see where that one messed up when I picked it up too early. There's a little burble there. But nice little faceting on there where it did work. Good impression on the outer ring. So yeah, I just have to get used to, I can't move this one. So yeah. But all in all, I am happy. This stove worked a lot better than my original one. Things heated up much quicker. I was pleasantly surprised at how quickly the wax melted on the new stove. Silicone spatula. Look how nice and easily it cleans off. Just a little scrape. So yeah, learning curve on the new stamp. It's all good. I think most of the time there is a learning curve when you have a new product. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and stick this. This is kind of where I stick all of my excess melted wax pieces. And eventually I melt them all together into like a swirly multicolor whatever. So this all obviously needs to cool down before I can put it away. See if I can move it off to the side though, so I can pull my die cut up. Put my stamping block away. Move that off to the side. I also have these new toys, which I'm still learning whether or not I love them. I got to figure out how to love them because they weren't cheap. But they're little clickable alphabets, so you can spell words out, and then they hook together. So you stamp and you do single words like this. So beauty. And you can go this, you can do words horizontally like we normally write, or you can do them vertically as well. What I'm discovering that is going to cause some frustration for me is that there's not enough letters in certain ones. Like there's only one U. There's one capital and one lowercase u. So I can't spell beautiful because I only have one lowercase u. So that's creating a little bit of a frustration. But like I said, these little things were expensive. I'm not willing to buy a second set. And I have them in small, and I have the medium set. As you can see, I haven't used the medium yet. I played with the small. I spelled out beauty, and I spelled bear. I did a bunch of bear ones. Deer. And I don't know how well you can see that since it's done in green, but it says nature. And I have, like I said, I have deer and bear somewhere. Oh, there's bear. There's bear. I don't know. Requires some play. Because they're kind of a pain in the butt to try to keep in alphabetical order, because my OCD says that's the only option. So again, there's a learning curve on figuring out how to get them all out, use the letters that I want, and then put them all away in a way that is the least problematic. Try to get this on screen as best I can. I'm gonna move my glue out of the way. This, my Sizzix, takes up so much space on my desk. I usually do this kind of stuff out in the living room on my portable table. While I'm watching TV, just because I don't usually have room on my craft table for it. And today is proving absolutely true on that as well. Okay, so Sizzix is pretty simple. This is the extended board. The one that comes with it is only They're 6 inches wide and I think 8 inches long. This is the extender, also with the multi-purpose platform. It's got several different thicknesses for shims. I'm not going to do a whole lot on this one. This again is the flowers that you can cut them out and stack them and layer them. So you put your paper down, and this is a personal choice. You can either put them cut side facing up and put the paper down, or put the paper first and then the die. I prefer paper than the die. Now, as you can see, my board is falling apart. This is a very old one, and until it completely snaps in half, I'm going to continue using it. I have my replacements over there on my shelf, but I'm going to keep using it till I can't use it, till I can use it no more. And even then, I will probably only use one. I'll probably keep using this one because there's no cracks in this one. I'll probably start using this one as the bottom plate and one of my new ones as the top plate until this one breaks. Because again, supplies are not, they're not cheap. So board, plate on the bottom, paper, die, top plate, and you just crank her through. If you hear cracking, it's normal. Like that, that's normal. First time I used my Sizzix, I panicked. I went running to their support center, and then I ended up on Google. Now I do try to go through 3 times, 4 depending on my space, because I can come out onto the right side of me. I'm only going to do 3, but if I didn't have space over there, I would come back and just pull it out on the left, just for space, not necessarily for cutting purposes. So good cut. So again, they're designed to layer. And as you can see, this is shiny paper. So I'll turn it that way so you can see the difference between the two. But yeah, that one cut really well. Sweet. I love flowered dies. Come back through the other way so you can see what I'm doing. Boop, boop, boop. Come on back. Some more of that shiny paper. Can I fit these all on there? That would be sweet if I can, because then I can use them. Yay! So I got just a tiny little spot there where it was like, is it gonna fit? That way these aren't a waste. Now these, you can see there's a little space in between, same here. These are designed to come apart and separate, so you can only do this one, only do this one, or you can leave them together and always stamp these out at the same time. I tend to leave mine together until there's no more reason for me to have them together, if that makes sense. Oh, this one's thicker. A little tougher to get through. I'm gonna go 2, and I'm gonna go back out the other side. My arms are not cut out for this today. Okay, so what this leaves you with, not only does it give you this cute little cutout part, I have wax stuck to my fingernail. So you can use this, you can just glue this straight down onto a paper. But you also have Where's my pokey? Nope. That's not going to be... I don't know where my pokey tool is. I'll just use this. A lot of times, die cuts will have these little holes. And they don't cut. They're just there for the sole purpose of giving you like a recess, somewhere to poke in there. I just saw my pokey tool. Go figure, it's where it belongs. It's up on my Cricut. So you can poke it through, and see what it does is it pokes your design out so you can get a hold of it. Just like that. So you end up with either this, well, you end up with both, but you can choose which one you want to. Let's go this way. My right hand doesn't go that direction. So you can use either one of those or both in a journal. So delicate and fragile. Those are going to be interesting to glue in. Cricut pokey tool. So this one doesn't give you any. This one's just a bunch of gunkers. Same with this one. Looks like, oh no, that one gives you a little bit of a cutout. Whew. Come on. Let go. There you go. So you have this piece, and then you have the negative of it. Those ones just ended up being garbage. This one you have a negative again. No negative on this one. So this one you'll see there's a bunch of little pieces. If you poke them out before you take them out of the die, it makes your life a lot less miserable. It does make a mess, as you can see down here. There is a special little rolly tool that you can purchase. I'm like, one fell out. They call it a weeding tool. I bought one and it fell apart not too long. I mean, like after like the maybe third or fourth time using it. And so I was not happy with it as a product. I think this one must have rolled over one of the broken spots. It's got a spot right here that's not cut completely. But you can see the little flower there. So I will roll that one back through. That is the big downside to insisting on using a plate that is broken, is that you're not getting the necessary pressure to fully cut your dies sometimes. So there's that one. And then the little rose. These are so delicate. Not really my style. Normally, I'm not a delicate little flower. In case you haven't figured that out yet. So working with these fine little things is gonna be for me. So that'll be interesting. So to rerun this, all I'm going to do is stick it back in to the spot that it came from. Spin that back through so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to find a spot where I can put that where there's not a crack. So that way I get the pressure that I need. Plate. The tricky part about doing this is that if anything moves out of place, you're going to mess up your die. But the way I look at it is it's already messed up because I'm probably going to tear it trying to get it out in the first place. So if I double negative it and I mess it up, No harm, no foul. But I managed to line these up perfect, which is awesome. So see, you just run it back through and cut it out. So there's that one. I'm impressed so far. Usually when I buy die cuts, by now I've hit somewhere I'm a little, I'm getting angry that something's not working right. So this is a bunch of little crazy kitties. I'm not going to punch them all out, not yet. So I'm just going to kind of line them up. Right, and just use this small little piece of black down here. So let's see if I can find where more than one cat will fit on there. It's funny, there's a bunch of just like random cat faces. Yeah, we'll just run it. We'll just run it sideways, whatever. Now off camera, I will run these through a full sheet because again, what I've come to notice is that sometimes a part of a stencil, a part of a die cut will work really well, and then another part won't work at all. And on something like this, it's not that big of a deal because if one of the kitties doesn't cut or one of the cat faces doesn't cut, it doesn't ruin the whole stencil. Because again, they're designed to come apart. A little bit of a cat there. So again, there's that recess. You can see a little kitty face. Little kitty face there. That was a bloober, but that's kind of cute. Just kind of a little spiral there. You know, these obviously are not worth anything, but have another kitty face here. Whoops, that I dropped on the floor. And then a full kitty. Ta-da! Whoop. A little kitty cat. I like the kitties. Ooh. I'm wondering if these are the same. Nope. I'm like, I was starting to wonder. I'm like, are these the same as my tree stencils? My tree stencil, but nope. And again, they can come apart, so you can do more than or less than one. But I am starting to get a stomach ache again, so I'm not going to be able to do the rest of these stencils or die cuts on camera. But I will try to show you what they look like after I get a chance to film them. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, and so far I'm really impressed with Temu, and I think I will be ordering from them again. Thumbs up, man. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.